We've all been there. Someone you really care about is hurting, and you just want to help. But comforting someone, it's one of the most delicate skills to get right. Do it well, and you can totally turn their day around. But get it round, and you can actually make things a whole lot worse.
Right? You know that feeling. You're trying to find the perfect words, you offer up what you think is really solid advice, and you just get silence. Or, even worse, you can feel them pull away from you. It's this super awkward universal thing, and it turns out it happens for a very, very specific reason. So here's the thing. The problem isn't usually your intentions. You mean well. It's actually rooted in the emotional place you're coming from when you approach someone who's in pain. It really all boils down to the difference between two very distinct feelings. And this gets us to the absolute core of it all, the huge difference between sympathy and empathy. Now, sympathy is often our default setting, but it's what you might call low-level comfort. It's basically saying, oh, I pity you, but from a safe distance. It creates this weird power dynamic. You're down there in your sadness, and I'm up here just kind of looking down. Phrases like, don't be sad, or be strong are classic sympathy. They basically tell the person to stop feeling what they're feeling. But empathy? Empathy is all about connection. It's about closing that distance and saying, hey, I'm with you. I'm down here in this feeling with you. It's not about fixing it. It's about validating the pain. To really see what this high-level, empathetic comfort looks like in the real world, we're going to look at one of the most incredible examples ever, all thanks to Princess Diana. This story just brilliantly shows the profound power empathy has over sympathy. Just try to imagine this for a second. Eiley is only 12 years old. Her whole life, her entire identity, is wrapped up in being a ballet dancer. And then, in a single moment, she's told, it's gone. It's over. She's going to lose her leg, her future, her dream. The level of devastation is it's almost impossible to comprehend. So naturally, people came to try and comfort Eiley. And they said all the things you'd expect, all the well-meaning stuff. You have to be strong, be brave. They were trying to help, of course. But what they were really doing was denying her pain. They were telling her not to feel the way she was feeling. And then, Princess Diana arrived. And at first, she didn't say a single word. She just held this heartbroken little girl tightly in her arms. A simple, powerful, human act of connection. And then Diana spoke, and just listen to her words. She didn't say, don't be sad. She said, I know you must be so sad. She gave Eiley permission to feel her grief. She validated every single one of her emotions. And the effect was instantaneous. This little girl who had been bottling everything up finally broke down and just cried. That right there, that is the power of true empathy. It doesn't try to erase pain, it creates a safe space for it. Okay, so that's a beautiful, powerful story. But how do we actually apply that level of skill in our own lives? Well, it turns out there's a pretty simple two-step formula that all of us can follow to give much more empathetic and effective comfort. The formula is really straightforward. First, you start with something called gentle intervention. And second, you provide support, but in a really specific way. So let's break down what each of those actually means. Okay, step 1. Gentle intervention. This is all about respecting boundaries. It means you don't just rush in like a hero trying to fix everything. Instead, you wait for a signal. You only offer comfort once the other person has shown in some way that they're actually open to it. And why is this so critical? Well, just try to see it from their perspective. They might be embarrassed to be seen when they're so vulnerable. Or maybe your relationship just isn't that close, and having you jump in could feel like a total invasion of their privacy. Plus, a lot of people want to keep up that image of being strong. A gentle approach respects all of that. All right, let's put this into practice. Imagine a colleague, someone you're not super close with, is in the hospital. What's the right move here? Do you just rush over to the hospital? Do you do nothing at all? Or maybe there's a third option. Think about that gentle intervention rule. The answer is C, for sure. Sending a simple message is the best approach. Rushing to the hospital is way too much. It totally oversteps the boundaries of a casual work relationship. Doing nothing might feel a little cold, but a quick text, it's perfect. It shows you care, but it gives them total control over whether or not to accept your help. It's gentle, it's respectful. So, once you've made that gentle intervention and it seems like they're open to your support, what do you actually do? This brings us to step 2, and the most important thing here is to offer help, not to give orders. You're there as a resource, not as a commander. And there are 2 main ways you can do this. The first is emotional support. Just like Diana did, you can create that safe space for them to let it all out. Or, if the time feels right, you could help gently shift their focus. The second method is to provide experience. This is where you might share a similar story of your own. But, and this is so important, you share it as a point of reference, not as advice. You say, when I went through something kind of like this, here's what happened to me. Not, here's what you should do.
So what does this sound like when you actually put it into words? We can actually combine all these steps into a really simple template, a set of phrases that perfectly follows these rules of gentle intervention and supportive, non-bossy help. This template is just beautiful in how it works. You start with, I just heard about your situation, which is gentle and not intrusive at all. Then you add, and I'm not sure what I can do to help. This shows you mean well, but you're not trying to take over. You follow that with a concrete, manageable offer. But I do have, maybe some extra time, or you can run an errand. And finally, you give them all the control with, whenever you need it, just let me know. The whole thing offers your presence without any pressure. It's perfect. Now, we have spent all this time talking about how to give comfort. But there is another side to this whole thing, one we hardly ever talk about, how to gracefully receive comfort, especially when it's, not very good.
There are 3 pretty simple rules here. First, know your setting. Handle what you can on your own, and just try to remember that your workplace isn't always the best place for deep emotional unloading. Second, always acknowledge the effort. Even if their words are clumsy or unhelpful, just say thank you. You're thanking their intention, not how well they did it. And third, you have every right to end the conversation. If someone's comfort is actually making you feel worse, a polite, thank you, I really appreciate you thinking of me, is the perfect way to shut it down without starting a fight. When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one single, powerful idea. Comfort needs empathy, not sympathy. It's about connecting with someone's pain, not just looking at it from a distance.
Look, comforting people isn't some kind of magic you're born with. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, you can learn it and you can practice it. You have the framework now. So the only question left is, who in your life needs this from you? Who are you going to support first?